I've put about 20 hours into Granblue Fantasy Relink, and boy, if you could smell me right now, you'd probably click off this video. I did this for you though, so you better not click off. I've cleared the story, done a lot of post-game content, and I should be unlocking the Maniac difficulty tonight. With my experience from all this time invested, I'm gonna help you decide if Granblue Fantasy Relink is worth it for you, and then probably go take a shower. Just to cut to the point, I'm loving the game so far. I do believe though there is a demographic that probably shouldn't buy this game, so let's start by addressing that. You've probably seen people beat the game so fast and thinking, damn, this game is easy, is it even worth the money? And I see how you can come to that thought without the context. These people are clearing the main story, which is a portion of the game, so we're gonna start by addressing the story. This game doesn't require you to have any prior knowledge of Granblue Fantasy, but there are some references to events that happen outside of the game. They do a good job informing you of terms that are referenced that may require you to have some previous Granblue Fantasy knowledge though, and so it does make up for it. The story, in my opinion, was very predictable for about the first 80% if you've played any other JRPG, but luckily, the stage design made up for that easily. I was extremely impressed by the gameplay of every stage because it felt so interactive, like I was just in an anime movie playing my character as I'm fighting through the story and getting to the bosses. The last 20% of the story also really picked up, but it only took me about 11 hours to clear the entire storyline. I know a lot of people ask, is this a gacha? And it's not. And within the first 3 hours of the story, you're able to unlock any character with the crewmate card, which you can get to from this little guy here, and we can see that all the characters are available and all these crewmate cards I've gotten just from progressing through the story. Like an MMORPG, the content of this game really opens up once you clear the main story. I feel like there was a lot of care put into the main story, especially with the stage design, the character design, and all the mobs. But if you're a person that only buys JRPGs for the story, this game may not be for you. Now, if you don't mind playing online with or without friends, this is where this game is going to excel. Most of the actual long-term content is going to come post-story with the quest system and gearing out your character. This game is going to be very grindy, attempting to unlock all of your masteries, leveling up your weapons and sigils, and fighting in-game raids on the hardest game modes. Unlike MMORPGs, the post-story quests given vary drastically, and each of them are just as important as fighting a raid boss and just as fun. Just to give you more insight, these are the different types of quests that you're going to be able to accept, and as you jump into them, it'll have all of these, and so I only have up to hard unlocked right now, but we're going to be able to progress further and further as I unlock more difficulties. And so with bosses, you're going to get treasures. Conquest is going to be leveling materials. This is going to be for trying to raise the level of your weapon. Horde is going to be for level weapon mats, like leveling up your weapon materials. Survival, mastery points and XP. Explore for mastery points and XP. These quests could vary from defending the ship to collecting coins across the map, and everyone run across the map. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be a mad dash. Who can get as many coins as possible? Now, each of these quests are gonna be required to progress your gear, giving different characters a chance to shine in certain situations, not only focusing on who can do the most single target DPS damage. The AoE characters are going to shine, buff characters are going to shine. Like, each character is going to have a different chance to excel at something when it comes to these post-story quests. The devs have stated there's 100+ hours of post-story content, and just 10 hours into that, I can see that they weren't lying. And this content isn't just filler content, it actually feels very satisfying and rewarding to play through. I feel like Granblue Fantasy Relink is going to live and die though by its player base. As long as the queues are popping fast, this game is extremely fun and will stay fun. But should things ever slow up, clearing these quests with your own party will be dreadful. It's going to take tons of grinding just to max out one character, so having to do this for a full party of 4 is likely going to cause players just to stop playing. You'll never have to worry though about playing solo if you join my Discord and subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it if you guys help me get this video to 100 likes. But I apologize for the interruption. Let's get back to the review. We touched on combat earlier, so let's dive deeper into it now. The combat has been insanely satisfying, but my biggest concern is the targeting sucks so bad that it's almost worthless to use. When you target an enemy the character locks on so aggressively, it makes it very hard to maneuver around the map and move the camera. They've already acknowledged this issue though, and they're working on a fix, so it shouldn't be a deal breaker, but I don't want to just talk about how good the game is. I also want to talk about some of the cons that I've had experience with the game. Once you get past the camera issue though, the fighting has been rewarding, and after 20 hours of playing, I'm still not bored playing the same character. Each character has a significant different playstyle, allowing for massive diversity when it comes to choosing which character you want to main. Every character also has a unique mechanic that you have to master to play them effectively and get the maximum damage output out of them. Another plus side to having unique characters is that in 100+ hours, however long it takes me to max out my character, if I get bored, I can pick another character I'm interested in and get an entirely new experience. This is the roster that you're actually going to have to unlock, and everyone else is actually given to you by default for free. But we can see that these characters vary drastically. Like Charlotta, she's going to be focusing on dealing combo damage and just doing non-stop attacks. Gandan Goza, who's probably going to be one of my mains, focuses on doing slow, perfectly timed, big, satisfying punches, if that makes sense. Fairy, she's going to be hitting you with the whip, Castlevania style. I don't even like this weapon, but she's one of my mains. Narmaya is a fan favorite that pretty much everyone loves, which is just a swordsman that focuses on a butterfly mechanic, and the more butterflies you have, the more damage your DPSs do, or your skills will do. And so those are like the top, those kind of play similar, but just to switch to a completely different play style, we have Vasaraga, who's going to be a big tanky character that can just tank damage while he dishes out his DPS, and is going to, I believe he scales based off of how much damage he receives as he's building up these attacks. So you can see, okay, just another one. Zeta jumps in the air and spins. Lots of character diversity when it comes to what type of units you want to play in this game. The combat feels Tales of Arise-esque, where you need to manage your resources and your character mechanic to deal damage. So that's a really good comparison if you need more info when it comes to combat. Mastering and maxing out the gear on your character is going to be the biggest driving force to keep you playing this game. The grind is going to be so long, I can't even begin to imagine putting a timeline on it, but think of it as like an MMORPG when it comes to character progression. The gearing is pretty straightforward once you get past the grind. Sigils are what are used for armor, and they grant stats as well as effects. I believe we'll be able to unlock up to 10 sigil slots, allowing for significant diversity when it comes to build, even within the same character. To give a quick TLDR, if you're looking to buy this game for the story or the solo experience, it may not be worth it for you. The story is a fun short spurt, however, it's about 10% of the actual content within the game. The other 90% of post-story content is going to be very hard to clear offline, due to the amount of time and investment it takes to max out one character. If these two things don't bother you, then Granblue Fantasy Relink is one of the most fun games I've ever played in recent years and worth every penny. If this video has convinced you to buy the game or you need more information, I'll have a video linked right here covering the basic mechanics of the game. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.